And we're back with Lumentek Electrical, and I'm here with Ryan. He's the owner operator of Lumentek Electrical, and he's got a story to tell you today, folks. This one sounds super, super dangerous. I've only dealt with scenarios like this once before when I was an apprentice. Go ahead, man. Tell us the story. What the heck happened?
So we got a call to a customer's house. They wanted a bunch of work done. So we kind of go through, take measurements, kind of walk through some possible options and whatnot. And then we're about to leave and he goes, oh yeah, my counter plug doesn't work. Can you take a look at that when you come back to do the work? It's okay, no problem. Yeah. And just kind of look at it. I was like, okay, like it just looks like a plug. It's probably a bad GFI or something like that. So go home, do the quote. We come back a week later to do the work. And so I pull the plug out and there's power there, but there's no power to the plug. So I kind of follow the wires back on the box. They switched the line and load for the neutral. And then they stripped.
Okay, slow down. Explain to the viewers what the heck that means. So they switched the line and load. So maybe just walk through that a little bit.
Okay, so when you run a kitchen circuit, you run from the panel to your first plug box. And then by code, you can have one more plug box off that circuit. So what they did is they came off the panel. We call that the line. So that's the power coming in. And then on a GFI, there's line and load. So line is from the panel, and then load, anything connected to that is protected by the GFI. So that plug gets fed off. That doesn't necessarily need the buttons on it. It's still protected. So if there's a ground fault from that plug, it'll trip the GFI. So if it's wired wrong, you don't get ground fault protection down the line. So this house we went to, we pulled the plug out and they had switched one of the wires from line to load and load to line. So they'd wired it backwards. That's like a first year mistake. You should never make that mistake. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing is if you do that, the plug won't even turn on. Like it won't let you reset it if it's wired wrong. So we're like, that's kind of strange. And the wires were stripped. Like normally for a plug, you can strip 3/4 of an inch maximum is all you need. They had almost 2 inches of wire stripped and wrapped around the screw with a big tail hanging out that touched the side of the box.
Yeah, so there's bare copper from the hot.
Yeah, all the wires.
All right, and they're touching the side of the box.
The ground from the panel that would ground the box somehow went straight to which is a bare wire, went straight to the plug and didn't touch any of the box itself. And it wasn't connected to anything, sorry. It was just in the box, loose, but it's a metal box and it somehow managed to not touch any metal. Okay. And the other wire going to the next plug was on the ground screw. So what had happened is with the wire stripped way too long, when they put the plug in there, the power from the panel, like the line, like the hot wire was touching the side of the box, making the box live. But because the ground wasn't connected from the panel, it didn't trip the breaker. It just made the next plug live. So the whole box around the plug, the screws, everything was live. And they never tested the plug after. And it was so bad, I thought there's no way an electrician could have done this. It was definitely a homeowner watched a YouTube video and tried to do it.
But what did you find out?
No, he showed me the invoice from the previous owner. They had to fix the plug as a condition of the sale. And he showed me the invoice and it was like, I knew the company and everything. I couldn't believe that it was a real company had done that.
Couldn't believe a real company did that. Well, folks, that's
they charged double what we quoted to fix the plug.
Wow. They did what?
They charged double what we quoted for the plug.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it didn't even work
and
after.
It wasn't even right.
Wasn't safe, wasn't right.
No.
It was the wrong size GFI plug. It was a 15 on a 20 amp circuit.
Wow. Okay, so tell us the potential danger of that scenario.
There's lots. There's first of all, the plug fed off of it was live. It wasn't live in the fact that it would work if you plugged something in. It was just that the box was live. So a lot of homeowners would assume that because it doesn't work, there's probably no power. And even electricians, you wouldn't ever think to check the actual box to be live because that's such a basic thing that it's impossible to mess up, I thought. It's definitely the first time I saw it like that. So they managed to just completely mess everything up. And the other thing too is you can hit the reset button. Usually it will turn red if it's tripped, and there's no red light, there's no green light. So a lot of people assume there's no power. So yeah, there's lots of hazards there.
Yeah. And you mentioned to me before that it was at a dangerous height as well.
Yeah, it was at the end of an island, so it would have been right at head level for kids, and people lean against them all the time, and that would be a wake you up in the morning.
So could be a shocking experience if you touch that thing. Just dangerous all the way around. So that's really unfortunate that a legit electrical company came out and did that type of work out there. But it just lets you know, folks, that this stuff is dangerous, and you got to get people who have good reputation and kind of know what they have to know what they're doing. I had a scenario similar to that, and for some reason, so the side of the box, the hot wire was touching the side of a box, and the grounds were all connected from one box to another, but the box was still live. So the side of the box, I'd go and touch it, and the side of the box is live. And what we found out was just the grounds weren't going anywhere. So the ground wasn't connected. So the ground wire was hot, the box was hot, and it was all coming from the panel. So that happened. I was like a first year working in like a 100-year-old house. It was bizarre. Knob and tube and all that fun stuff. So that was fun.
We had one like that where it was a trailer, and my friend's a gas fitter and called me and said, hey, like I got shocked real bad changing out this hot water tank. I was like, what do you do? And he's like, I was just stepping over the gas line. My leg touched it and it shocked me. I was like, the gas line shocked you? Yeah. And so it was, I can't even remember where it was in town, but we went out there and took a look, and it was, I don't know who did the work, but they should not be allowed to. It was like they had 3 panels. They had just run single conductor wire, not in a cable, from panel to panel. There was, I think what they did is the first panel from the first point of disconnect in the service, you're supposed to bond neutral and ground. They didn't have that. They had it in a sub panel instead, but they didn't actually have a ground wire. And when they ran their single conductors panel to panel, they switched neutral and hot.
Oh, geez.
So they just basically anything that was grounded was actually hot. So from like the plug that the gas fitter is using to plug in the boiler, or the instant on hot water, was the opposite phase of the gas line. So between hot and gas, there was 240 volts. Then between the neutral on the plug that was fed from the panel that was wired better, that ground was 120 volts difference to the gas line ground.
So buddy could have died.
He got shocked pretty good. He was unhappy about it.
Yeah, that would hurt.
Yeah.
That's not good. There you go, folks. Electricity, some dangerous stuff. Don't do it yourself if you don't know what the heck you're doing. And, even sometimes when you get an electrician, they don't know what the heck they're doing, surprisingly. But I know that Ryan and his crew do really good work. He's a master electrician. He knows his stuff. Otherwise, he wouldn't be licensed to get his electrical. So if you guys are looking for some changes to do in your house, or if you think that something's wired a bit squirrely in your house, give them a call, and he'll be happy to come out there and check it out for you and get it corrected quickly. Anything else before we go anywhere?
Counter plugs, backstab. That's another service call we got to do.
Okay, all right. So counter plugs. Tell people what backstab is.
So on the plugs, when you wire a receptacle, there's your 2 screws. You have 2 hots, 2 neutrals on the regular 15 amp circuit. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to strip the wire, bend like a U shape, like a cane, and then hook it on the wire, and then tighten the screw. That's how you connect it to the plug. And then if you have another wire going out to the next one, you come off the other screws and go that way. Then they came out with the quick connects, which is basically, you can stick the wire in there and there's a little tab that grabs the wire. The problem with those is when you actually load up that circuit, it gets hot and the connection doesn't last. So then you end up with a bunch of weird voltage issues, open neutrals, stuff like that. It's just, every time we see it, there's always some kind of, even if they haven't called us specifically for that reason, if you ask like, oh, do you notice that like sometimes plugs don't work or things break, then they go, oh yeah, actually now that you mention it, like our TV keeps dying, we have to keep replacing it. It's like, oh yeah, you've got 80 volts there, you should have 120.
Yeah.
So I was actually in the house we just bought and my coffee maker died.
Oh no.
So I tested it and it was like 100 volts, and when you plug anything in, it went down to like 40.
Oh no.
So yeah, that's tonight I got to pull that apart and fix that connection.
That sucks. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so yeah, the quick connects in the back of receptacles, not really recommended to use those because they heat up, cool down, and then over time they just don't have a nice firm connection to the wire, which causes those issues. Yeah. Exactly. Anything else? Any other fun stuff?
No, it's been otherwise.
Other than that, pretty quiet.
Yeah, pretty quiet.
Well, that's good. All right. Thanks for joining us on this video. Hopefully you learned something today. And if you need an electrician, call Ryan at Lumentek Electrical and be happy to come out and check out your stuff and make sure that it's working properly. See you on the next one.